You know, it's one of the oldest dreams we've ever had as a species, living forever. It's a desire that shows up in every culture, in every part of history. But what if the whole idea of forever that we're chasing isn't actually what we think it is? What if there are two completely different ways to exist for all time?
Seems like a simple question, right? Sure, sign me up. But the deeper you dig into it, you realize the answer is tangled up in some mind-bending paradoxes, hard cosmic limits, and a philosophical twist that changes the entire game.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to pull apart two huge ideas. On one hand, you have immortality. That's what we usually think of, just living on and on and on, inside the timeline of our universe. But eternity, that's something else entirely. It's the idea of existing completely outside of time's river. And believe me, that one distinction changes everything.
So let's start with immortality, that idea of enduring in time. Right now, science is basically charging down two main highways, hoping that one of them cracks the code to a ridiculously long life.
The first path is all about us, our bodies. The thinking here is to stop treating our biology like it has a fixed expiration date and start treating it like an incredibly complex machine, a machine that we can repair, we can upgrade, and we can maintain, well, forever.
And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky science fiction. Scientists are already developing things called senolytics. These are drugs that literally hunt down and destroy old, worn-out cells that cause aging. They're using stem cells, which are like our body's own master repair kit, to regenerate organs. They're even looking at gene therapy to go right to the source and fix the DNA typos that make us break down.
And if you think this all sounds impossible, get this. Nature might have already beaten us to the punch. There's this tiny jellyfish, nicknamed the immortal jellyfish, that can basically hit a biological reset button. When it gets stressed, it can revert its cells back to their baby form and just start its life all over again. It's wild. But what if trying to patch up our fragile biological bodies is the wrong approach entirely? The second path is way more radical. It says we shouldn't fix the body, we should leave it behind.
Welcome to the technological escape route. On one side, you've got mind uploading. The idea of scanning every last neuron and synapse in your brain to create a perfect digital copy of you that could live forever inside a computer. And on the other side, you've got cryopreservation, freezing your brain, hitting pause on all decay, and basically betting that some future civilization will have the tech to bring you back online.
So, we have two paths. We can either fix the body or escape it. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, here's the catch. Each one of these solutions creates its own deep and maybe even unsolvable paradox. All right, let's circle back to the biological fix. It turns out our cells have this awful trade-off, just hardwired into their system, a paradox that puts living a long life in direct opposition to staying healthy. Here's the dilemma in a nutshell. The very process that makes us get old, it's called cellular senescence, where cells just stop dividing, is also one of our body's absolute best defenses against cancer. So, if we switch that safety feature off to live forever, we're basically rolling out the red carpet for cancer cells to grow uncontrollably. To achieve biological immortality, we might have to become masters of fighting cancer, like constantly.
Now, the technological path has an even weirder problem. And this one isn't about biology, it's pure philosophy. If we upload your mind, is that digital copy of you still you?
Just think about how this would probably work. Step 1, we scan your brain with 100% accuracy. Step 2, we use that scan to create a perfect digital simulation of your mind. But then, there's step 3. For the transfer to be complete, most theories say the original biological brain has to be destroyed.
So, here's the billion-dollar question. Is that digital being that just woke up, is it really you continuing your consciousness? Or did you just die on the scanning table, and an identical clone with all your memories just blinked into existence, totally convinced that it's you? Critics have a seriously chilling name for this scenario. They call it obliteration followed by imitation.
But let's just pretend for a second. Let's say we solve all of it. We cure aging without getting cancer, we figure out how to transfer our minds without just making a copy. Even then, even if we achieve perfect immortality, we run headfirst into a final, non-negotiable deadline, one that applies to everything in the universe.
It's called the heat death of the universe. It's the ultimate endgame, and it's dictated by the fundamental laws of physics. And what it means is that even immortality has an expiration date.
So here's the thing. As our universe expands, it's also constantly cooling down. Trillions upon trillions of years from now, everything will eventually reach the exact same temperature. It's a state called maximum entropy. And when there's no difference in energy from one place to another, no work can be done. And if no work can be done, there can be no life, no computation, and not even a single thought. The universe just stops.
And this is the final, brutal checkmate. Even a godlike digital mind living in a perfect simulation can't outrun thermodynamics. As usable energy in the universe dwindles, its thinking would slow down over billions of years until it just stops completely. It would be left in a permanent, vegetative state, floating in a cold, dark, and perfectly silent universe.
So, if living forever inside of time is ultimately a cosmic dead end, what's left? Well, this brings us all the way back to that first distinction we made, and to the only other option on the table, getting out of time altogether.
It really feels like every single path to immortality we've looked at just hits a hard brick wall, doesn't it? So is that it? Is the whole quest for forever just a fantasy? Well, maybe not. Not if we change the very definition of what it is we're looking for.
This brings everything back to that core distinction. Immortality, existing in time, will always be trapped by the final deadline of the heat death of the universe. But eternity, that idea of existing outside of time, is, at least in concept, totally immune to the laws of physics as we know them. It's playing by a completely different set of rules.
The name for this concept is atemporal eternity. It's not about living for a billion years. It's about experiencing your entire life all at once. Every memory, every feeling, every moment, not one after the other, but as a single, perfect, complete whole. It's not a duration of living, it's a total state of being.
And that leaves us with one last big question for you to think about. If you actually had the choice, what would you really want? An endless life inside our universe, but one that's fragile and always shadowed by that final cosmic end? Or a single, perfect, unchanging existence, complete and total, but outside of time as we understand it? Maybe the real quest for forever isn't about how long we can live, but about figuring out which kind of forever is the one we truly want.